Welcome to the show, everyone. It's the Crypto Lark. Today, we're going to be talking about Ripple Enterprise Blockchain Solutions for Global Payments, the cryptocurrency that everyone either loves to hate or loves to love. We're going to be breaking down just what Ripple and XRP are trying to do after a massive thank you to all you guys for hitting that like button, subscribing to the channel, commenting on the videos. Your support makes all the difference. So thank you so much for being part of the cryptocurrency community. And of course, you do have to remember, this is not professional financial advice, guys. Let's just talk about cryptocurrencies on the internet. Let's get into it. Okay, first and foremost, we have to get this on the table. The XRP ledger and Ripple are not the same things, although they are very closely related. The XRP ledger is an open source, decentralized ledger, which is aimed at giving banks an efficient and low-cost way to transact, especially across borders. Now, they really want to be competing with SWIFT, who is the current leader in international payments, which is slow and expensive, but you should really not confuse Ripple, which is the private for-profit company which is utilizing the XRP ledger, with the XRP ledger itself necessarily. However, at this point, they are not really able to be separated, because currently Ripple is the driving force pushing XRP adoption, although Ripple would like for the XRP ledger to be something that is standalone and not totally connected to the private for-profit company. Ripple Net Software and the XRP ledger do not necessarily connect. There are many companies using the Ripple Net software, but not as many using the XRP cryptocurrency. The XRP ledger itself currently quite easily handles 1,500 transactions per second. It can scale up to 50,000. The key goal here for it to be a bridge currency. So if I'm an American bank and I want to transact with a European bank, I can send funds to that European bank using XRP as the bridge in the middle to make that transaction happen in a very, very quick and easy way. Super low fees with Ripple, really fast confirmation times, but Ripple is not a blockchain. Now, they are using distributed ledger technologies, but they use a hash tree, which is providing consensus by comparing and validating data. So in essence, it is a consensus ledger. Although we will have smart contract functionality coming to the XRP ledger soon, they're calling this Codius, and the XRP ledger is even going to see its first ICO happening soon, even though this wasn't the intention of Ripple to see this happening with XRP. It is indeed going to be happening. There are a few key areas which make up the Ripple XRP ecosystem. Now, xCurrent is the first one. This is an enterprise software solution for instant cross-border bank transactions. This is software that fits in with existing bank systems, particularly in terms of compliance and security. This does not require the XRP cryptocurrency. Worth underlining. But if a bank wants to use XRP, they can use it for additional savings and to get access to new markets. So there are incentives for banks to actually use XRP, but they're not required to use XRP to take advantage of Ripple software. Then we have XRapid. XRapid is essentially payment providers and other financial institutions who want to minimize liquidity costs while improving customer experience. Essentially, you will have lower capital requirements because of XRP. Now, the XRapid is something where you do actually require XRP to use this. Of the many partners that Ripple currently has, only a few partners are using XRapid. The majority are using xCurrent. We also have XVia. Now, this is also for corporates and payment providers and banks who want to send those payments across various networks. This will provide a standard interface with rich features like payment tracking and the ability to attach invoices to those payments. We also have Spring or XPring. This is an incubator and investment arm of Ripple aimed at fostering projects looking to use the XRP ledger. Again, as mentioned, we still do see a very, very close symbiotic relationship between the two at the moment, even though Ripple may like to make that a more distant relationship in the future as it invites more projects into the ecosystem. Now, Xcurrent is basically operating on a system of IOUs. Now, anyone can use these for things like gold, for example, so you can have a gold IOU or a dollar IOU. Many of the companies are using RippleNet for this, and they're not actually using the XRP tokens. Now, the token has only really seen an uptake by a few providers, but the benefits to banks for farther adoption could really be powerful if they're willing to expose themselves to cryptocurrencies for these payments. A little side note as well, XRP fees are actually burned, so it does make XRP deflationary over time. Currently, it's a very slight effect, but if we did see massive amounts of daily transactions happening, let's think, Visa, MasterCard levels, well, in that situation, it could make XRP quite a bit more deflationary, but we really need to see that massive uptake of banks using the XRP token and not just using the Xcurrent variant of the Ripple software. Now, we also, in this situation, are reliant upon liquidity providers. So in order to move in and out of XRP quickly, to use it as that bridge token, well, we need liquidity providers on both sides. Otherwise, it doesn't become very effective as a means for international payments. What about the centralization claims with Ripple? Ripple starts off with 55 validator nodes, which are run by the Ripple Labs. That's quite centralized, but Ripple is aiming to shut down one of their nodes every time that two new trusted nodes created by other parties are made. So, for example, if a bank in Japan wants to run a node, a validator node, well, they can do that. But they have to be trusted parties. So there is still a degree of centralization because it'll be in the hands of these trusted validator nodes, although more decentralized than just Ripple being the ones running that. Ripple really wants to push to have the XRP ledger to be decentralized so that the XRP ledger can actually run without having Ripple Labs holding the whole system up, because it does create a weak point. So even though they are pushing for a bit more decentralization within it, I still think this falls short of perhaps the decentralization ethos that is so upheld by many within the cryptocurrency community. One thing that I think gets a lot of people super excited about Ripple and XRP, of course, are the partners. And there is a crazy amount of partners. Bank of Indonesia, Credit Agricole, Bank of Thailand, SBI Holdings, which is a massive Japanese banking consortium, Western Union, Amex, yes, American Express, Apple Pay. Currently, there are more than 150 partners. However, the majority of those are simply using Xcurrent, which is the Ripple software, but they're not using the XRP token. Again, that's really worth underlining that we haven't seen this massive uptake yet in the XRP token. And I think when a lot of people go out and they buy the XRP token, they think they're investing in Ripple, the company, or they think that these 150 plus partners are actually using the XRP token, and that's simply not the case. I think it's really important and worth pointing out. Let's look at some of the concerns that are some common concerns, but also concerns that I have about XRP and Ripple. Now, this is something that is focused on the banks. This is not meant for end users. This is an institutional enterprise solution here, guys. That is something really worth pointing out. This is not meant to be day-to-day money. This is not a replacement for Bitcoin. This is a tool for large institutions to use to reduce their fees. But hey, banks kind of suck, don't they? Aren't we trying to be our own banks and to replace this whole system anyway? It's one of the reasons why I've never pulled the trigger on investing in XRP, because for me, it kind of goes against what cryptocurrencies are all about. But for a lot of people, they're a little more agnostic when it comes to that, and perhaps you shouldn't let your politics get in the way of your investments. Me, I do without a doubt, and I invest in, renewable energy projects, for example, because I like the idea, I like the politics of it. A lot of people, though, a dollar is a dollar, no matter how you make it, and Ripple has made a lot of people a lot of dollars. XRP is a FUD monster. People love it, and people really hate it. And it makes it so hard to find any honest opinions about it anywhere on the internet. Ripple keeps, really beating the FUD and nailing all these partnerships and finding more and more use cases, particularly for the RippleNet software, but also for XRP. We do have more of these institutions looking to use XRP as a solution. But of all the information out there, there is a lot of misinformation. It makes it really hard to find exact details. So if I got any details wrong in this review, let me know about it in the comments section down below. Can Ripple still make you a millionaire? Well, not if you only invest $1,000. If you have perhaps more money in the game. I think Ripple's seen a lot of its valuation already come through. Now, there's not to say there's not still money to be made on investing in XRP. And if these big banks actually start using XRP as a bridging token, there could be a lot of potential there for that. There is still a massive amount of XRP that is not in circulation. The total amount of XRP still in escrow, 52.7 billion, that is sitting with Ripple Labs. Now this is slowly going out the door to partners and things like this, and a lot of people say, well, aren't they just going to dump it on the market or something like that? No, that's crazy. That's crazy. Ripple is a company run by professionals. They've been doing a lot of charitable giving and things like that. They have no interest in destroying the value of XRP. It benefits no one. There is still a massive amount of XRP held by the founders of Ripple too, which good for them, to be honest. It's the retirement sorted out, I suppose. The big thing, and I know we've mentioned this a few times, but it's so worth underlining, is that the Ripple software is not dependent on XRP. When you buy XRP, you are not buying Ripple. The Ripple software is like candy for banks. The XRP token, though, hasn't quite had that same effect yet, with banks lining up around the door to get XRP tokens. One thought as well is that yes, the Ripple software can save banks a lot of money, and they can even save more money if they use the XRP token. But let's keep it real, guys. Do you think that your bank is actually going to pass those savings on to you, the customer? Banks have basically proven themselves time and time again to not do that. Think about transaction fees between banks at the moment. A lot of that stuff, a lot of the prices that you pay for these kind of fees are just overly exaggerated because everything's now automated. Nobody needs to actually go in there and manually check these things. It's all run on automation. This will increase the bottom lines for banks, the savings and utility for the average customer. Well, you might get your money faster, but you're probably still going to have to pay a similar amount of money, I would imagine. I may be proven wrong, of course. There are other competitors in the space, but there's not a massive plurality of competitors, which is surprising. You'd think that there'd actually be a few more companies focused on this. Maybe everyone thought, well, XRP's kind of done it, so why try? Stellar Lumens is probably the biggest competitor to Ripple and XRP at the moment. Now, Stellar has ICOs that are coming on it. We're going to potentially see one here, of course, soon on the XRP ledger as well. The distribution is aimed at being more fair with Stellar. Ripple has been focusing on banks. Stellar has been focusing on remittances and empowering the unbanked, and they have IBM with them as well. So it's a very strong competitor, but it's not a zero-sums game. I think both of these projects are going to have great success moving forward. Of course, Ripple has already seen stellar gains, of course. There is quite a few fiat gateways for Stellar as well. The liquidity on it is absolutely excellent for investors. It is a very, very popular first investment for many people when they come into cryptocurrencies, because they look around, they realize, wow, That's kind of cool, isn't it? Isn't that something I want? So that's kind of cool. It's got a lot of enthusiasm behind it. A lot of people are just die-hard XRP supporters. A lot of people look at it as the serious, grown-up cryptocurrency. Cool. People like seeing suits. Some people like seeing suits. Personally, I prefer seeing Vitalik wearing a freaking llamacorn t-shirt. That gives me more confidence in some strange way. But some people are more comfortable with the suits. And if you're comfortable with the suits, Ripple's your baby. If you're not comfortable with the suits, go somewhere else. There's a huge potential here for the banks to reduce their fees. Banks want better solutions. Banks want to have a better bottom line. Anyway, guys, that's just the 2 Satoshis of a dude talking about cryptocurrencies on the internet. You guys are going to let me know what you think about Ripple and the XRP token in the comment section down below. Long live the blockchain, and peace out till next time.